It's new comic book day, and this week's shaping up to be a big one. Absolute Brainiac is making his grand entrance. What does that mean for Superman's future? Plus, we finally get the answer to why Mary Jane has bonded with Venom. And of course, we're breaking down the hottest new comics and covers you want to check out for this week. So let's do it. It's Fresh Picks.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to stick to the whole green theme. I'm just sticking to the whole green theme. And this week's new comic book releases for May 7th, 2025. We got ourselves an Absolute Superman coming out this week. And if that cover says a lot, it does. I am so looking forward to some Brainiac. But before we even talk about some Brainiac, let's talk a little bit about last week. Last week's previously fresh picks. You got here, the top voted comic book was Ultimate Spider-Man 16 with 43%. World's Finest came in at second place. That's the annual for World's Finest. Came in second place with 6%. Godzilla versus Spider-Man with 4%. Detective Comics came in with 3%, and Fantastic Four. So a little mix between Marvel and DC. Did you get a chance to read any of these? I know you mentioned World's Finest a little bit.
I did. I read. It was actually a very slim week for DC. It was because it was a week 5 of the month. So, but I did read the World's Finest annual, and I read the Detective Comics annual. For the most part, were really kind of the only books that, for the most part, came out last week.
Yeah,
for DC.
But how was World's Finest? You mentioned something about World's Finest.
Good. We're if you're not following the World's Finest and Justice League Unlimited, they're doing their crossover right now. Gorilla Grodd is doing some timey-wimey things, bringing the original Legion of Doom into the present. There's some fights that go on. Robin in the past, who was Dick Grayson in the past, gets shot by a ray gun, which is infused with tachyons. He gets sent into the time stream. He ends up in the current time, and so the World's Finest annual ends with Batman looking at Dick Grayson Robin and Dick Grayson Nightwing.
Oh, cool! That's awesome. I did pick that up, but I didn't know that happened. So that's good to know. All right, let's move on because we got to talk about the rundown. This week, we got 87 new releases, 329 variants, gives us a total of 416 comic books. Publishers, you got to cool this down with the variants, and there's one culprit we'll talk about later. Shane knows who it is, and you'll see who it is in a minute. New number ones, there's 21 new number ones. Out of those 21, there's 118 variants in addition, and that gives us 139 new comic books that are all number ones. Potential keys, there's 16 potential keys with only 3 issues that have first appearances that we know of. When it comes to the publisher breakdown, Marvel has 16 titles with, my goodness, 63 variants. DC is not too far behind with 12 titles and 38 variants. Now, this is where it gets really crazy. Image Comics has 14 titles, 22 variants. Boom Studios has 6 titles with 20 variants. IDW has 3 titles and 3 variants that are included with it. And Dynamite's back at it with 6 titles. And they could have just made one more. Just throw in one more.
They do a trade dress, and they do a version, and they do a black and white, then they do a foil. So you get at least 4 or 5 of each.
Of the same thing, right? 99 variants, but a comic book ain't one.
And it's a number one, so it's got to be Captain Planet is doing probably most of those.
And you know what? It probably is 100 if you count the Earth Day Captain Planet. Yeah. So let's count that in there. And then Dark Horse has 10 titles with only 6 variants. As far as the remaining indie publishers, there are 20 new titles with 58 variants. This is how this breakdown goes. Yes, Dynamite is always on top of the list when it comes to these things.
It's more exciting to see how many pages of variants they have in the back of every comic book than it is to actually.
Well, here's the crazy thing about Dynamite is that they're not even full 32-page comic books.
Right.
They're even thinner. There's like 16 pages or something like that, whatever the number it is. it is ridiculously small page count with these books, and they just keep cranking them out. It's amazing that they keep doing this. I don't get it. Anyway, let's start off with Absolute Superman #1. This book is I want to say the key of the week. It is the introduction of Brainiac, and it's his first full appearance. The horrors of Absolute Brainiac are revealed. So you've been reading Absolute Superman. What's your thoughts so far? And really, he's always been lurking in the shadows, but now we're finally going to get ourselves some Brainiac.
He has, but we also find out that he's been working for Ra's al Ghul as part of the
Yeah, that's right.
So we have that as well. So I really like Absolute Superman. If you read the last issue, um, Mark and I talked on one of our shows that it embodies exactly what the Absolute Universe was all about. The last issue, because it was him coming to Earth, it was him finding the Kents, it was him being taken away from the Kents, it was all these things. There were these glimmers of hope that were dashed every single time and put out by something else. And that's exactly what the Absolute Universe is. It's about there is no hope. Every time you think
Yeah.
it's going to be extinguished.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm on issue 4 of Absolute Superman, so I'm a little behind. I'm behind on a lot of books, really. I've been catching up on Ultimate Spider-Man, believe it or not. Just reading them digitally. It's just so much to get across. But what I've read of Absolute Superman, I really dig. I honestly thought that he was going to be responsible for the death of Krypton. Like somehow I thought they were going to do something where he was partially responsible for what happened. Didn't turn out like that. Ultimate Wolverine #5. Mysteries of the Ultimate Wolverine past are revealed when a familiar face joined the fray. This cover was done by Alessandro Cappuccino, who did cover A. There's also Neil Francis Yu, who I'm very interested in what Sabretooth is doing there with his hands. He's like, hey, I got a magic trick. And the Steven Sokovia 1 in 25. Ultimate Wolverine's a great book. I'm really enjoying Ultimate Wolverine. I like that he's mysterious. I'm curious to see what's their take on Sabretooth is going to be in this storyline, especially since Wolverine is very much a Black Ops character. Who Sabretooth is going to be. So I'm really looking forward to it. Have you been reading Ultimate Wolverine or anything like that?
I got the first issue. But I mostly picked it up for a cover because I love Lee Bermejo, who did a variant on the first issue, and so I got that. But other than that, I really haven't been reading it. So
Yeah, it is cool because he's really the Winter Soldier.
right,
So they're building him up as the Winter Soldier. Obviously, he is more of a hired gun rather than what we know as Wolverine. But he's starting to learn a little bit more about his past. So really good storytelling. All right, our next book in this list is Batgirl #7. This one's important because it's the origin of Lady Shiva, who is going to share her secret origin to Batgirl. I take it you have been reading Batgirl, have you?
no, actually, I have not been reading Batgirl.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So this one's interesting enough to me because when I saw that, it's like, oh wow, Lady Shiva is who's the mother of Batgirl, Cassandra Cain, and she's gonna start sharing her story. So this is definitely a key to check out. I know Shane's been reading Batgirl.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, that's the book that he says he's gonna end it, but then he comes back to it all the time. So that's why
that says a lot for the comic, though.
yes, does says a lot for the comic, and it is the book that he would have been able to tell me exactly what's going on in Batgirl. I don't read Batgirl. All I know is that we got to get an origin, so that's important. Let's go to our next one. This is another origin, but it's one that I think most people want to know, and that's All New Venom #6. This is the origin of the All New Venom. What happened after the events of Venom War? Why did the symbiote choose this host? And why can't they separate? And Jackpot confronts Venom, and she may not like what she finds out. Neither does any of the public.
Yeah.
What's your thought on Mary Jane as Venom?
Okay, isn't Mary Jane the new Venom? That's the only thing that I know.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Venom fan either. So
Yeah. This is the issue that's supposed to explain what happens. And what happens was Marvel just wanted to do something to make everybody go crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'll pick it up to see what kind of ridiculous story they tell us. Not that I'm going to be happy about it.
I will let you pick it up and you can tell me what it's like.
And then finally, JSA 7. This is the Society is mourning because Wildcat has passed away. Is that correct?
He didn't pass. He didn't just pass away. He was killed.
Talk to me
Yeah.
about what's going on in JSA.
Yeah, so the Injustice gang is back, and they've been posing as one of them was posing as Obsidian, and so they captured the original JSA, and they have been holding them inside Doctor Fate's tower. Um, it's a combination of the original JSA and like the newer so we have Yolanda, who is the new Wildcat. Um, we have the new Doctor Midnight. But we also have the original Flash, the original Green Lantern. We have Obsidian, who's there as well. So Jeff Lemire, or Jeff Lemire, however you say it, is writing quite a story. And big shock at the end of the last issue, killed off Ted Grant, Wildcat. So we'll see how that goes.
I felt like they should have like made more of a big deal with it because Wildcat's such an important character, especially to JSA mythos.
Yeah.
How does that affect characters like Black Canary and things like that?
Right.
Because he's that important to it. I've always liked Wildcat. He's one of my favorite characters. His portrayal in Justice League Unlimited was always fun. The way they had him. So rest in peace, Wildcat. All right. Our indie key of the week is Free Planet #1. There is an Ashcan preview that is limited to 407 copies, so be cautious of that one. This is the first completely free planet in human history that has won its independence. Now, a group of revolutionary heroes must defend the planet's unique energy source from a pair of hostile intergalactic powers while determining what complete freedoms actually entails. This is the story done by Aubrey Sitterson, and Jeff Donnery. I saw this and I was like, interesting. And there is a 1 in 50 Osorio. This one's very interesting. It's kind of like one of those cosmic storytelling, Guardians of the Galaxy type of thing. So that's going to be the indie key of the week. Go check it out. If you like it, let me know. All right, let's go with the eye-catching variants, starting with Absolute Green Lantern issue #2, Torrent Clark. That is gorgeous. Something about Poison Ivy Comics. They always have great covers. You got a Carlin Coed that is a retailer exclusive, but the 1 in 50 Joshua Sway, I think, is trying to channel his inner Peach Momoka.
I was gonna say it's very Peach Momoka like.
You know what I mean? But what are your thoughts on any of these covers?
Well, I love the Torrent Clark run. I've loved everything that Torrent Clark has done. He did some Flash covers a while back. Whenever I see that little TC in the square, it's like I know it's a great cover.
Yeah, exactly. So let's take a look at some other ones here, and that is Birds of Prey 21. That's the Nimit Malavia. JSA 7, Sweeney Boone has a great cover featuring Alan Scott and the rest of the JSA. And speaking of Black Canary, Best of the Best #6, the Beling Ortega cover. I like that one too. It's like she's putting the tape on. Like, who is she gonna fight?
Well, she's been fighting Lady Shiva, I think.
Yeah, Lady Shiva. In fact, so really good covers there. You like any of these three?
Yeah, I ordered the Sweeney Boo one. So
the Sweeney Boo one looks really cool. Though.
Yeah.
All right. Then we got our Marvel books. Star Wars #1, the Facsimile Edition 2025. There's a Mike Mayhew cover. A lot of people don't give Mike Mayhew the kind of credit he deserves. If you think of Alex Ross, most of the time, Mike Mayhew should be in that same place because those covers that he does are brilliant. And this Dark Vader with Obi-Wan on his eye, reflecting off his eye, is gorgeous. You also have Storm number 8 with 1 in 50 Akua Storm cover, which I always love Storm in her Thor costume. And then you have Laura Kinney, Wolverine #6, the Simone Demi cover. I think that's also great, man. What are your thoughts?
I think the Star Wars one is a retailer exclusive, right?
It's a facsimile. I do believe it is a comic.
But I
I
think
want
it's
to say Comic Mint.
Comic Mint, yeah.
Mhm.
And maybe Sad Lemon Comics because they do a lot of them together. Sad Lemon
Yeah,
if you're in the UK, and then Comic Mint if you're here. But yeah, and you're right. He's definitely gives off Ross vibes.
yeah. It's gorgeous, man. I think it is a Comic Mint. Go check that out. You can probably order it today.
Mm.
Also, John Tyler Christopher is doing another one with West Coast Avengers #7. This features Wonder Man. There's also another exclusive, Amazing Spider-Man #3 with Joseph Michael Lindsay, doing the Hobgoblin. I like that one. Russell Donman is doing X-Men 16. That is an open order one which features multiple versions of Cyclops, which he's done this before with other characters, but I think that John Tyler Christopher Wonder Man is gonna be one to get.
Yeah, yeah. He loves the negative space. That's his playground.
That's his plan, and it's John Tyler Christopher,
Right.
and it's Wonder Man who is going to get a resurgence pretty soon because we are going to get a Wonder Man TV
Series.
show coming up.
Right.
Yeah. Then this is the J. Scott Campbell Blood and Thunder #1, 1/50 J. Scott Campbell cover. There's also a G.I. Joe 316 by Andy Kubert, and the Scorch 40 Federico Sabatini. I think that was a great cover there, but as you can see, the J. Scott Campbell cover is kind of a bit of a shocker for a comic book that I don't know anything about.
Yeah, yeah.
Has that Black Widow vibes to it. And then finally, we talked about this earlier, Captain Planet #1. This is the Mark Spears cover. Just to let you guys know, there's tons of them.
Yeah.
And you could get Captain Planet in any different color you want. But the other two books I think are going to be hot ones, which is the Hello Darkness #10, another Jenny Frison cover with a spider, which is crazy. But the Pop Kill #3, I'm going to call this book the pick of the week because I do believe people are going to get crazy picking that book up. Because it's Adam Hughes.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So last time we had an Adam Hughes cover, it was the #1 book in the trending list. So who knows? Pop Kill does it again, but Mark Spears, he's not too far behind. This, I would say that these three artists are probably the top artists of today. And Adam Hughes has been doing it for a very long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And there you have it, guys. Those are your fresh picks for today. Tell me what you think about it. Like, comment, share if possible. And, of course, if you want to subscribe to the channel. We thank you so much for your time. We appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more comic content. Check out these other videos for even more insight. And I'll see you at the next one. Excelsior.